Welcome to the Natural Hair Education Podcast, where we empower, educate, and embrace our essence through the love of natural hair. I am your host, Corinthian Carruthers II, and thank you for listening. I am a licensed beauty educator, licensed cosmetologist, and natural hair culturist. I am co-owner of Creative Hair School of Cosmetology and the creator of Natural Hair Education, a platform that's designed and dedicated to teaching beauty school students, professional stylists, and natural hair enthusiasts textured hairstyling and natural hair education. On this platform, we will discuss real hair stories, break myths, and grow in self-love. This episode is brought to you by Natural Hair Education's Texture on Texture styling course. This styling course is a virtual educational experience. Learn how to properly detangle hair, learn how to do coils, flat twists, two-strand twists, and an updo style, all on naturally textured hair. In this program, you will receive Ada, which is Natural Hair Education's first texture hair mannequin. And listen, y'all, she is the real deal, okay? So once you get your hands on her, you'll be able to learn the different types of skills and techniques, as well as improve your current skills, increase your service time, along with your confidence, and overall increase your income. Hi, welcome to the Natural Hair Education Podcast. On today's episode, I have a special guest. She goes by Vecoya Banks, and she is the founder of Love the Hair You Wear. And we're going to just talk about it and get into some conversations about her mission and her purpose. So hi, Vecoya, how are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for being a part of the Natural Hair Education Podcast. I really appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. So I recently saw the video of the recap of your event, and I want to get into all of those great things because I think it's amazing what you're doing. But before we get into that, I do want to just ask you some questions about your hair. How did you get into the natural hair space, and what were some of your concerns that had you actually create this initiative?
Okay, so I went, what did they call it? The term, I returned to my natural state. That's what I say. It was in college, so that was a long time ago. I'm just celebrating my 15 years from graduating soon. So I want to say that was like 2009, and YouTube was really big. So I was just infatuated with just the idea that my hair can grow out of my scalp curly or just not straight, because I had been getting relaxers since I was probably 5 years old. And that probably to some people sounds really ridiculous, but I really just never thought through the process of like, what would my hair look like if I wasn't getting a relaxer? And relaxers honestly weren't a bad thing for me. Like my hair was pretty much like bra strap length, but I discovered the flat iron in 2007. Right after I crossed, I'm an AKA, so I was like, flat iron my hair to death. And it literally, I went from bra strap length hair to about like shoulder, like maybe, no, because I ended up cutting it too. So that was in the span of 2 years. Didn't realize what I was doing at the time. What I was doing was just flat ironing entirely too much, not putting heat protectant on it, things of that nature. So 2009, YouTube was really big. I started looking at different things that you could do on YouTube, and I was super infatuated with the thought of how would my hair look if I didn't get a relaxer. So with the space of not getting a relaxer started in 2009, transitioned for, I want to say, at least a year. I know some girls do the big chop. That's not my ministry, but hats off to everybody that does. I also feel like the transition phase allowed me to realize experiment what works for my hair, what doesn't, and so that was around 2009. And I feel like there was just a lot of information just on the internet that you could find. And one thing that I did find from following different YouTube bloggers was that a lot of people's hair was different, right? So I could get all these different products, but if it doesn't work for me, it doesn't work for me. So graduated 2009, I went to A&T, Aggie Pride, and I moved up here to the DC area. Are you located in DC, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, awesome. You said Michigan? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. So Detroit. Okay, awesome. Well, moved up here to DC, and the space, like the blogger space was just amazing. Like it's like Black excellence in DC. That's one reason, like I'm raising my children here, that I really love. You see a lot of like just prominent, just Black people just doing amazing things. And so there was events here that I feel like I probably wouldn't have had access to if I stayed in Greensboro. So that really intrigued me. And then from there, like after, I had a blog, I was like meeting different people. It just transitioned into an event in 2015. And I think that space is really important to talk about your hair care routine, because when I first went the natural route, I thought that I was just going to be washing my hair and walking out and my hair was just going to look amazing. No, ma'am. And so through that journey, just having the safe space and the conversation pieces, I feel like Love to Hear You Wear is great because we talk about that at this event. Like I usually have it in DC annually. Well, we haven't had it in DC since 2021, but Black women, we're talking about the different sides of the natural hair care journey. It's not always glitter and rainbows. Sometimes you're over your hair. Sometimes you want to cut it off. Sometimes, what was working for you 2 years ago doesn't work for you right now. And so this is really just a space to talk about all of that.
Absolutely. I think it's so amazing that you've created that space. I do want to ask you a personal question though. So when you transitioned, what was your method? I know you said you didn't do the big chop. Did you wear braids? Did you wear like 2-strand twists or perm rostets, flexi rods? What did you do to actually like grow out that?
Flexi rods were definitely a go-to for me, which I had to learn a strategy. I know it's different for different people, but for me, it's just like I just continued to try over and over again. I also used to do like I don't want to call them French braids because they're not quite French braids, but I would plait my hair into 2 braids and wear that quite often. I also used to do this thing called, I don't know what the proper term for it was, but I thought off of YouTube. I would divide my hair into, I like to say 16, I would say almost little buns and twist them up. And the thing is, like my permed hair at the end and the top, it wasn't as much of it didn't showcase as much of a difference. And it was kind of like a curl that happened to it. So I used to do that a lot during my transition period. That also was a very, very long time ago. So that's just what I remember because I want to say that was like 2009. Yeah. Yeah, that's a long time ago.
And I remember during that time, the natural hair industry really started to grow. People started really paying a lot of attention to their hair that grows out of their scalp. It's kind of like, oh, we got this. It looks like this when it's not chemically straightened. So I know a lot of people were doing research back then and looking for ways and going on YouTube. YouTube University. To find ways to manage their hair. But did you even look at those hair charts? Like, did you classify your hair as what they say, A1 or 4C, B3, and all those things? Did you use those charts as a reference when you were transitioning?
I had heard of the different
hair types.
Yeah, the types. I didn't personally look at that, but I do know that like which I'm sure we'll talk about this soon, through some of those charts, some people that are businesses that I have partnerships with, like they really specialize in what the different types are. And I think I fall like somewhere between like the 3B category. And then my hair is different in different sections. But no, I didn't really pay a lot of attention to that. I was just, I know that my hair likes water. So one of the things that I look at is like in the ingredients list, is that one of the first ingredients? Honestly, if I really like a brand, even this probably isn't the best, but if I like the packaging or something and I want to try it out, I'm like, let me try it out if my hair likes it. But no, I wasn't married to the different types that what 1 through 4, I wasn't married to.
Okay. So let's talk about Love the Hair You Wear. You're about to be 10 years old next year.
I know. It's like really
amazing. So walk us through that journey. What inspired you to actually start the Love the Hair You Wear? And what was some of like those first events? And were you able to see people actually like, oh, okay, gain more awareness and knowledge about their hair while you're hosting?
Yeah. So it's funny the way that I knew that I wanted to create a space and I wanted a safe space to talk about the different hair care woes. And I feel like that transitions over into self-care too, because hair is a vehicle, but like how you look and how you feel about yourself often translates into what you're thinking, how you feel emotionally. So, but the journey of Love the Hair You Wear, like I said, I was in the blogger space. I had a blog with my sister, probably 2012 to 2015, and I really gave me other opportunities to meet just different bloggers in the area and just kind of network and do all the different things. So I was a part of a hair care shoot with this photographer. His name is Levan, and his idea was to put 20 Black women in one picture. And some of them were bloggers, some of them were just like professionals or teachers, but it was like all of us in one picture, and it was a dope picture, and it ended up on Essence, and he called it the Washington Naturals. And so through that space, it was a really cool photo shoot, and I got to meet all these different women. And from that, he like kind of created some paraphernalia. So he had like a shirt and all this stuff. It was the Washington Naturals. And so when I went to pick up the shirt, some of the women that were a part of the photo shoot was there. And I saw the photo shoot, like it had great numbers, like 1 million views or something like that. And I was like, being in the blogger space, I knew that was important. So I just kind of approached him like, hey, we should do an event. And he was like, well, I'm not, in the event space, but if that's something that you want to do, I think this could be cool. So I spearheaded it. And I want to say that might have been in April. We had the event in July. He was like, well, what would you call the event? And I was like, well, the Washington Naturals, of course, is a part of it. But then I was like, but it's about hair. So how about Love the Hair You Wear? So he's like, yeah, cool. So I knew that being in the blogger space, I had some relationships with different PR people and different people that were important in the hair space. So I just reached out to them about this event and said, hey, we're going to have guests here. We want them to have swag bags. And so from that, I want to say in 8 weeks, I was able to acquire, and it might have just been samples, but it was a nice little swag bag to put it together. We did the event. It was at a space called Blind Wino here in DC. And which I don't think Blind Wino's around anymore, but this is 2015, so this is a long time ago. It had really good turnout. A lot of the bloggers that were a part of that picture, they were bigger natural hair care bloggers. They were a part of the event, and so it had a really good turnout. And I was just like so amazed that it happened in like such a short time span. And I was like, oh, I love this. Like, this is great. And so, I organized it and orchestrated, and I was a little surprised at, the turnout. But really, that's just about community and just, when you work with other people that are doing great things. From there, I was just like, hey, I want to do it again. And he was like, listen, I'm not in the event space. You good? You like, feel free to carry on with it. So I dropped the Washington Naturals from it, and I just did Love the Hair You Wear. So next year, did the same thing, outreach to different companies. Can you give us product swag bags? One thing that I really pride myself about Love the Hair You Wear is our swag bags are amazingly just full and great. And so a lot of times people joke with me, but not really joke. They're like, I'm going to Love the Hair You Wear so I can get that swag bag, because that's like my year supply of products. So we had it every year. Even during COVID, we did it like a hybrid event, like where, we had some programming online. But the one thing that I really love about Love the Hair You Wear, and that started from the first year when I even thought about what I wanted there, we usually have two people with different hair types, but we're trying to achieve the same styles with the same products. And what you end up finding is that what works for me does not work for you, and vice versa. And that's okay. And so that's a point of conversation to say it's completely okay that my hair isn't like yours, and that I need to love how my hair is, in all the different stages of it. And when I'm over it, and because there's a time that you're over it. So we talk about that too. So it's a real open, and I feel like honest conversation at most of the events. And then we've transitioned to A&T. Luckily, we've had the past 3 years, which is just like a student edition. And that's just like, it's hair care, it's wellness, but it's also talking about careers in the beauty space. So it's growing and continuing to grow.
Yes, I know. And I want to get into that because you had over 400 students participate. So we're going to talk about that. But before we do, you said something earlier in the podcast about self-esteem and hair. And I believe it does have a correlation. And I do believe that a lot of women base their self-esteem based on how they show up physically, how they look, especially how their hair look. So you guys demonstrating those two different styles or the same style on two textures of hair, listen, that alone
Mhm.
can be a whole workshop. Okay. I work in the beauty school space and I have students and things like that. And I have clients come in and they all, clients don't understand that we all have different types of hair. Like it can all be thick, it can be curly, but those curls can vary in size and diameter and things like that. So I think that was a great example. And just teaching people that, just because her hair looks like this doesn't mean that you can achieve that. But although you can achieve something very similar, that you can learn to love and take care of yourself. So that was good. But I do want to talk about these 400 students, girl. Come on now. Like, what is going on? When I saw that, I'm like, wow, that is very impressive. And I love the idea that you did not just touch on hair, but I know you had some mental health conversations. You guys have voter registration. You had a lot of things going on. How was that, putting that event together?
Well, it's definitely a labor of love. Even though it's like a 4-hour event, I think people will be surprised how much planning goes into it. So I have a great relationship with the Family Consumer Science Department. And particularly there's a professor, her name is Dr. Newcomb. She's amazing. So we start meeting, like, I want to say our first meeting was probably in January or February this year. And it's just like biweekly, but we're just touching base about, like, the event space. Do we have reservations? Like all those different things. But this year, I feel like everything just came together beautifully. Like, is that a word? It's a word, right? It was beautiful how it came together. And honestly, the feedback from a lot of the young women has just been so just making it just all worth it, all the hard work. Because I'm a mom, I'm a wife, so like, and I have a full-time job on top of all of that. So it does take a lot of time, but it's like to give back to like my alma mater, because we end up giving away scholarships, right? Like we connecting different people with different job opportunities, internships. That ends up being like super rewarding and super fulfilling. So yeah, I mean, what I really found is just tapping into my different networks. So, like, because I went to A&T and I still know some people that I went to school with that might be affiliated with the university, or maybe they work at the university. It's just really been like, how do you tap into getting the students to know that this is available to them? This is free. And we want them to come by and have a good time. So, it's caused me to put on my thinking cap, but so far, it's continued to grow. First year we had it, I think we had 250 students pre-register. Last year we had 600 students pre-register, and this year we had 800 students pre-register. So it's continuing to grow, and people want to come to the event, and we get really, really, really good feedback about what they're walking away with.
Yeah, that's impressive. So when it comes to the students, I know that these are college students. Did a lot of them were a lot of them more so into their textured hair, or were they the type of students that wear braids, protective styles because they're away from home and they just want to know how to take care of their hair underneath those extensions and weaves?
Yeah, so we saw a lot of, I want to say, a variety of students that were there. And I want to say I'm not somebody that's against extensions or weaves. I do think that it's really important for you to have pride in wearing your own hair. But like even right now, I have a sew-in. Like I'm at a spot where me being a mama too, like I do not have the time to take care of my hair as much as I used to. So I tried a sew in, I want to say in August, and I liked it. And now, I got my little curly sew in. So, but I do think like to get back to your question, I, for instance, the end of October, it'll be 2 months. So I'm gonna take out the sew in, and I'm like rock my curls for a while again. I think it's just all about your lifestyle and adhering to that. But we saw different kind of young women out there, and men too. Like they were showing up too. They wanted like some insight on their curls and what to put on their curls. But I did see a lot of people with rocking curly hair, some people rocking locks. And one thing that I do, like your locks, they're beautiful, and I love the color that you have. One thing that I do want to make sure that I continue to do is to try to find products that will be versatile for everybody and work, or, for a wide range of people, right? Because like if I'm only putting, I want to say conditioners in there, like from my understanding with locks, y'all don't really want to put a lot of conditioner on your hair, so that wouldn't even work. So just trying to continue to be inclusive to all the different hairstyles. Now I will say a lot of young women, I did see them rocking like wigs and things of that nature. And one of the points of conversation was, how do I get more comfortable with rocking my natural hair? And my advice on that is to just, you got to continue to try. And just because a hairstyle doesn't work for you one time, I can't just give up and be like, I'm never going to try that hairstyle again. Because if I do that, that's going to really limit what I'm comfortable with. The French braids, for instance, that I told you that I got comfortable with, I had to continue to try to braid my hair like over and over again before I was able to get to a comfort level where I was comfortable walking out the house and I didn't feel like I looked crazy. So I think it's all about trial and error. And, some days you might get some twist out that's amazing. And then you do the exact same thing 2 weeks later and it's looking crazy. So, and whenever that happens for me, I'm just like, okay, it's time to bun it up, or you know what I mean? Or slick it back in a ponytail. So just being okay with knowing that your hair might not participate.
And that's real. That's a real thing. I remember transitioning. I transitioned in 2002, I think it was. I got out of high school in 01, and I was in hair school, and I'm like, yo, I never felt comfortable with the long weaves and the straight hair. It just wasn't me. So I would get a relaxer and then get a perm rod set, or I would get a relaxer and get a straw set. I wanted my hair to be curly and kinky, you know what I'm saying? So I started, I actually shaved it all off, started over, completely over, and grew it out in the afro. And I had so many trial and errors, like trying to figure out how to wear my hair, what goes on my hair. And this is during a time where there wasn't many YouTube videos. Like that stuff came on the scene later. I'm like, oh, look, now it's here. Now I can learn and figure it out. But that transitioning phase is really, really difficult. And I see even to this day, a lot of people just give up. They'll try something, and like you said, it's like, okay, it didn't work that time, it ain't for me. Like,
right.
No, be patient. Like, give yourself time, give your hair time. And so, yeah, I really understand those frustrations that people may have when it comes to transitioning. But I do want to talk about, you had someone at your event that was doing hair and scalp analysis. Talk about that. I think that is so interesting.
So there is this company, they are called Mayavana, and they're amazing. Like they really are. Shout out to the founder, Candace. She's amazing. But so what they're able to do is literally, and unfortunately they haven't done it with locks yet, but they are trying to figure out the technology to do that with locks. But they're able to take, like, if your hair is loose stranded or out, they take samples from all different parts of your hair, and they're able to put it under a telescope, or is that called a telescope, a microscope, some kind of scope, and they're able to, I've had my hair analyzed from them. It's really cool. They send you back. When I did it, I was told that I had like product buildup. So they provided me with some routines that would help with making sure that I was stripping my hair of the product so it wasn't impacted me negatively. Okay. But also through that scope, they're able to tell me, hey, because you do all different types of your hair, all different parts of your hair. So it's the middle part, it's the front of your crown area, the back. So it might be like, hey, the back of your crown area, the back of your hair is actually 3B. And the front is 4A. And these products, you might want to look into looking at these products because that might work for your hair. So I just feel like it's a wealth of information. I think the actual analysis is very cost friendly. Like it's not anything crazy. They actually have a community. Love the Hair You Wear has a community on the Mayavana app. If you go to it, and they were there. They've been actually a part of Love the Hair You Wear the past 3 years, and they provide so much information for me to help you with your natural hair care journey. Because it's like one thing to like, I know what purosity means, right? But it's like, do I have low or high purosity? And I know there's a way you can put your hair in like some water and it means something if it doesn't. But to me, like to have like the technical scientific data behind it to support that, to say like, oh, okay, and these products would work well for me, and maybe I don't need to wash my hair every other day, like Susie told me down the street or whatever. Like, this is a good routine that I'm going to try and see if I notice differences in it. So yeah, My Ivana it's been an amazing partnership that Love to Hear You Wear has with My Ivana. And so they were present. They went over a demo. One of the interns that was a part of Love to Hear You Wear actually got her hair analyzed. So we put her hair up during the presentation part, went through how she got her hair processed, or, you know, she got back the results, some of the things that she might have had questions about. And these women that work there are just super knowledgeable. So, and I mean, to me, it's really crazy that they're able to intertwine the research with the beauty part and, you know, make it for me. Yeah.
And I think a lot of Black women, especially, we really need those. Like, we need to know more about our hair. We're still new in this industry, believe it or not. The natural hair space, I want to say, is probably about 20 years old, and that's not really old. And for them to provide hair and scalp analysis, I think I mean, I know it's going to probably grow bigger and bigger, and more people probably start offering those things, but I think it's very helpful and it's very handy. As I mentioned, I work at a beauty school, and I see a lot of scalp conditions. I see a lot of like the start of hair loss. And I'm sure those scalp and hair analysis can really help clients just make small changes, whether it be in their diet or, you know, their hair care product or regimen, even stress. All those things contribute to all type of scalp conditions. So I think that's genius. Like, that is really cool.
Well, I'll have to connect you because I know, like, you're in the hair beauty industry, so they love to connect with different hairstylists and different cosmetologists around the country. So I would love to connect you all.
So what is the future for Love the Hair You Wear?
I mean, so since it's been going so well at A&T, and I mean, I'm just going to speak out loud, right? Because I do feel like if we speak out loud, that can manifest into other things. And God definitely hears the things that we want to do. Since I've been hearing such like positive feedback from A&T, one of the questions that continuously comes up is like, so are you going to bring it to other schools? And so part of that scares me, right? Because that's out of my comfort zone. A&T is like my alma mater. I know a lot of people that go there. I feel like it's to not easy, but you know, I've been able to maneuver or navigate that space well because of my connections there. So I will say what's next is I really would like to expand to other schools. And HBCUs in particular.
Yes.
And like root for everybody Black, like, you know what I mean? And we've been to other schools outside of A&T. We had the opportunity to go to Maryville, which is in St. Louis last year, but it was like a smaller, kind of more intimate thing. I want to say less than 50 students were there, but I would love to explore that option of bringing this to different schools, because even last week I was talking to one of the scholarship recipients and she got a connection, an interview for an internship with one of the companies that was a part of Love to Hear You Wear. So to hear that feedback, I'm like, oh, wow. And then also I want Love to Hear You Wear to have more of a presence on A&T's campus. So it's not just an annual thing, because the young women that are reaching out to me are like, yo, like I loved like the feeling that I had walking away. Like, I can actually navigate this natural hair care journey, and that transitions into, you know, like I said, hair is the vehicle, but I see it as being bigger than that, like your wellness and how you feel about yourself and your confidence. And so working on actually some of the street team that was a part of Love to Hear You Wear that we're meeting more, not just annually, but throughout the year. So that's some short-term goals, I want to say, in the next year.
That is awesome. That is really, really good, girl. I'm rooting for you. I am rooting for you.
So thank you.
Before I let you go, I do want to know, is there anything that you would like to let the audience know, whether it be about Love the Hair You Wear, any of your events, or just about self-love in general?
Well, I do feel like I Love to Hear You Wear is definitely a community. And so if you want to be a part of that community, please subscribe at LTHYW.com. So all the first letters of Love to Hear You Wear, that's what it stands for. And we definitely like to send out positive affirmations and just continue that feeling that is at the event, right? But via online. I would also say one thing that I feel like that has given me a lot of, it's also a lesson that I'm continuously having to go into. I feel like comparison is the thief of joy. So comparing myself to other people's journeys, even if, everything looks amazing about their lives. And sometimes people's lives are super duper amazing, right? But like me comparing myself to other people and not really knowing their full story, like is not serving me in any capacity. So one thing that I want the message to be around Love the Hair You Wear is that I'm me as a unique individual. Like I have to love my own story. I have to love my own journey. I have to love my curls, even when I don't love my curls, right? And that will help me be my best self. So that is the messaging around Love the Hair You Wear that I really want to resonate when people leave the event, when people join our online community, when people engage with us, that like love uniquely what is about you, sit with that even when you don't, right? Like I was having this whole thing this morning where I was kind of like having negative thoughts, and I was just like, not even that I necessarily feel like pro positivity all the time is a thing, but I was like, let me just sit in this. Like I'm not feeling it today. Like what is that about? And that's okay that I'm not feeling it today, right? And it's okay that there's a part of me that feels negative. And then I feel like after I did that, it passed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just like engaging all the different sides of our human experience is really, really important. So those are the things that I want Love the Hair You Wear to echo, and people that are part of the community to feel like that too. It's okay. It's all okay.
Vecoya, that is really good. The work you're doing is really needed. I think that is just phenomenal. I do.
I'm super excited to be on here. Like,
Problem. And I just love the fact that your mission it has a lot to do with self-love, not just hair care. And like I really try to stress that to my students as well. Like you guys are in the industry of helping people get themselves beautified, whether it's through their hair, their skin, their nails, all those spaces, but ultimately they're looking for self-love, where these people are looking for ways to empower themselves, to feel better about themselves, to go out in the world and create a better place for, each one of us. So the work you're doing is purposeful. I am going to send good love and good vibes your way to make sure that you are in all the HBCUs.
I love that.
It's a lot. It's a lot, but it's definitely well worth it. And so I'm just proud of you. I don't know you personally, but I am proud of you. I've watched your videos. I've read about the things that you were doing, and I was like, I gotta have you on the podcast. So
thank you so much for having me. Seriously,
no
and I'm gonna connect you with my Ivana. I think that would be great, awesome. And I'm excited to hear this podcast.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you. But before I let you go, can you tell the audience where they can find you, all platforms and email or handles or websites, whatever you have available?
Right. So I would say the main place would be our website, LTHYW.com. And if you even go to our website, it should this subscriber thing should pop up to say join our community. If it doesn't, our email address is info@lthyw.com. We do have Instagram and all the things, but that is something that, I'm gonna just claim that God is going to continue to build out the team. All the different hats that I wear, I try to post as much as I can. And we definitely have more activity around when the event happens. But, we have some things going on for A&T's homecoming. So we are active, and that is LTHYWDC on Instagram. I'm trying to think, it's the same for Threads. Okay. And we don't have a Twitter. We don't have no Twitter. But yeah. That's where we mainly our community is where we send out newsletters, anything that's going on, you can hear about it. We do have a shirt that we are getting ready to release for our 10-year release. So we're doing pre-orders for that. You can find that on LTHYW.com. And I think we're going to release probably closer to next month, a couple of the swag bags that were at the event. Because like I said, they're products, and they have some really nice brands that are a part of those. Not all hair stuff. Some of it is like skin, but we try to send that to people and get their feel. I will say with the full size products, a lot of times you have the ability to see, hey, does my hair like this or not? Sometimes samples, you don't get that same opportunity. So that's the thing around the full size product. That's the idea, that you get the the full experience to see if it's worth buying again for you specifically.
Yep. Well, thank you so much for being on a part of the Natural Hair Education podcast on today. I look forward to having many more conversations with you. And look, 1 year, I need to get out to where you are, to one of those events, and just be a part of the event.
Yes, for sure, girl. Maybe you'll be on the panel. Shoot,
I would love that. But thank you for coming on. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Until next time, let's educate, empower, and embrace our essence through the love of natural hair. Thanks for listening.